Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Srimad Bhagavatam. Commentary is by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda ji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilanand. So in today's Satsang, we are going to discuss a very exciting episode, Krishna lifts Govardhan mountain. Once, when Krishna was about 12 years old, Nanda, the foster father of Krishna, prepared an elaborate ritual for the traditional seasonal propitiation of Indra, the lord of the heavenly world and the giver of rain. All the gopis and gopas of Vrindavana prepared numerous types of food to be offered to Indra, while the Brahmins and priests prepared themselves to recite hymns in praise of Indra as they poured oblations into fire. That is the havan that they were doing. To the surprise of all, Lord Krishna asked Nanda is his father, to stop the preparations in worship of Indra. Nanda was the chief of the village, so they had lots of cows and they were reasonably affluent where Krishna was being born, first in Gokul and then they had moved into Vrindavan. So Krishna argued that the people of Vrindavan were more benefited by the Govardhan mountain, the cows, Brahmins, the saintly personalities than by any ritual worship of Indra. So it's a very important episode and I hope we can pay attention and learn from it. The Lord in these should be worshipped, Krishna said. In the mountain, in the cows, in the people, in the things that help them, rather than worshipping Indra, who is the giver of only transient rewards and heavenly enjoyments, which too have already been given on the basis of one's karma. So that was the important point that Krishna brought up in this. Krishna's argument was so convincing that Nanda and the Brahman priests discontinued their worship of Indra and redirected all their preparations towards the worship of the mountain god, Govardhan mountain. The gopis and gopas gathered by the mountain with their numerous articles of food and offered them to the mountain god, and the Brahmins recited Vedic hymns in praise of that deity. At that time, Lord Krishna himself assumed a gigantic form representing the mountain god and accepted all the offerings. At the same time, he appeared among the people as the familiar and youthful Krishna who tended the cows. Remember, God can have multiplicity at the same time. Even in Ramayana, when Lord Rama came back, he made sure that he multiplied himself into many Ramas, so each one could personally meet every citizen of Ayodhya who had waited so lovingly for 14 years and when their Lord came back. So he personally gave them individual attention. And this is why we say God resides in your individual heart also, as he resides in everybody else. That is the compassion. In this case, Lord Krishna did the same thing. He became the mountain and he also continued to be Krishna tending cows. The people were overjoyed to see that their offerings were accepted by the deity, and there was great rejoicing for all, because after all it was the mountain that protected them, that gave them the rains and also green grass for their cows. But when Indra saw that the people of Vrindavan had been led by Krishna, a mere boy who turned away from the long-standing tradition of worshipping him, he became furious. Indra represents heavenly, the Lord of the heavenly world. He commanded the spirits of the clouds, storms and rain to destroy all their possessions. So he got very jealous, very angry and upset that all this while I was being worshipped, but no longer. What happened? And so he took revenge. He took their valuable objects, cows. So he wanted to destroy them with his torrential rain, because that's the power Indra has. He has control over the rain part. So soon dark clouds filled the sky, hail began to fall, and the clouds poured down torrential rain. Thunder, lightning, ferocious winds seemed to render the very sky. Seeing this calamity, the inhabitants of Vrindavan ran to Lord Krishna for refuge, for help. Krishna told them not to be afraid of Indra's wrath. He said, "Once I have given my word, I will protect you. I will not waver from it." Then he instructed them to gather by Govardhan mountain, to go where the mountain was. When they had done so, Lord Krishna lifted the mountain like a mushroom on his little finger and allowed the people with their children, cows, and possessions to seek shelter under the great umbrella of the towering mountain. For 7 days and nights, Indra continued to exercise all his strength to destroy Vrindavan, but he was unable to do so. Despite the storms raging ferociously, everyone was perfectly safe. Seeing himself utterly defeated, Indra realized that Lord Krishna was not an ordinary person, but rather was an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, or the divine self, the supreme being. Thus realizing, he withdrew the storms. The sun began to break from the clouds and the water dried up. Krishna then told his people that it was safe to return home. When they did so, they found that nothing had been destroyed despite all the storms that had been raging so furiously. Finally, Krishna put the mountain back in its original place to celebrate the restoration of harmony in the land. Then Indra, along with the other gods and divine sages such as Narada, came to adore Krishna and seek his forgiveness. So Indra realized that his pride and jealousy and show of power was useless, nothing in front of Krishna, and he repented. They performed a coronation ceremony for Krishna, declaring him Lord of the three worlds. Thus, with Indra's pride quelled, Vrindavan became more beautiful than ever. With every passing day, the gopis and gopas enjoyed a new aspect of the bliss that passes beyond the reach of our mind and senses. So we will enjoy the mystical meaning of this beautiful episode in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Om Tat Sat.